Why is the moon broken? The secret of the repair shop? Tone. Industrial cute, busy, glowing, satisfying. Cleanup theme. Story script. Chapter 1. The Bitten Cookie. Toby loved things that worked. He loved taking apart his toy cars to see the gears. He loved watching his father fix the toaster. He loved the smell of oil and the sound of a screwdriver turning. Squeak. Click. But there was one machine that Toby couldn't understand. It was the biggest machine of all. The moon. Every night, Toby looked at the moon through his brass telescope. Sometimes, the moon was a perfect glowing ball. Toby called this working mode. But then, night by night, it would start to break. First, a little edge would disappear, then a half. Then, it would look like a fingernail clipping, and finally, it would vanish completely. "It's broken again," Toby whispered one Tuesday night. He peered through the lens. The moon was just a tiny sliver, a C-shape hanging crookedly in the sky. To Toby, it looked like a light bulb that was flickering and dying. Someone needs to change the battery, Toby thought. He adjusted the focus knob. Twist, twist. Suddenly, he saw something. It wasn't a crater. It wasn't a flag. It was a puff of steam. Right on the edge of the dark part of the moon, a tiny puff of white smoke rose up, followed by a faint flash of blue light. It looked like a welder's spark, Toby gasped. Someone is up there. He leaned out of his window. The beam of moonlight coming into his room seemed thicker than usual tonight. It looked solid. It looked like a slide made of milk. Toby reached out a hand. The moonlight felt firm and cool under his fingers. He put a foot on it. It held his weight. Toby grabbed his tool belt, which contained a plastic hammer, a wrench, and a roll of duct tape, because you can fix anything with duct tape. "I'm coming to help," he whispered. He stepped onto the moonbeam. It began to move upwards, like an escalator made of light, carrying him up, 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 past the sleeping birds and into the velvet night. Chapter 2. The Dark Side's Door. The ride was smooth and silent. The air grew colder, but Toby didn't shiver. The starlight wrapped around him like a blanket. After a long, floaty journey, the moonbeam deposited him gently onto a surface that felt like crunching through dry snow. He was on the moon. It was gray. It was quiet. It was dusty. Toby looked at his feet. His sneakers left perfect prints in the silver dust. He walked towards the edge of the light, the part that we can see from Earth. Then, he crossed over into the shadow. This was the part that looked broken from his bedroom window. But up close, it wasn't broken. It was just dirty. Extremely dirty. The ground was covered in a thick layer of soot. It looked like space grime. It covered the glowing rocks, making them look dark. Toby walked further, until he saw a small, metal shack nestled inside a crater. Smoke was puffing out of a crooked chimney. A yellow light spilled from the windows. Above the door hung a sign made of spare rocket parts and old license plates. It read, "The Moon Repair Shop open 24/7. We fix cracks, craters, and dust buildup." Toby knocked on the metal door. Clang, clang, clang. The door hissed open. Standing there was a rabbit. But this wasn't a cute, fluffy Easter bunny. This rabbit was wearing a grease-stained blue jumpsuit. He had a pair of aviator goggles pulled up over his long ears. He was holding a wrench that was bigger than his head. And he was chewing on a carrot as if it were a cigar. "Yeah?" the rabbit grunted. "You here for the 10 o'clock shift? You're late. Grab a buffer." I'm Toby," Toby stammered. "I thought the moon was broken." The rabbit sighed, wiping his oily paws on his jumpsuit. "Broken? Nah, kid. It ain't broken. It's just dimmed out. I'm Barnaby, the foreman. Come on in." Chapter 3. The Celestial Mechanics. Toby stepped inside. The moon repair shop was the coolest garage he had ever seen. Instead of smelling like gas and oil, it smelled like burnt sugar and ozone, which is what space actually smells like. Everywhere he looked, There were rabbits in blue overalls working busily. There were rabbits tightening bolts on giant light projectors. There were rabbits mixing buckets of glow paste. There were rabbits studying blueprints of the tides. You see, Barnaby explained, walking Toby through the workshop. The moon is basically a giant nightlight, but space is a messy place. We get hit by comet tails. We get splashed with asteroid dust. And don't get me started on the solar wind, that stuff is sticky. Barnaby stopped in front of a giant calendar on the wall. It showed the phases of the moon. Full, quarter, new. People on Earth think the moon changes shape. Barnaby laughed. Silly, right? The moon is a rock. Rocks don't change shape. What changes is the cleanliness. Cleanliness? Toby asked. Exactly. Barnaby tapped the calendar. Right now we are in the new moon phase. That means the whole moon is covered in a month's worth of space dust. It's pitch black. Our job is to scrub it clean, bit by bit. So, a crescent moon is? A crescent moon means we've only scrubbed a little slice. Barnaby nodded. A half moon means we're on our lunch break. And a full moon? That means the whole crew worked overtime to polish every single rock until it sparkles. Toby looked out the window at the dark, dusty landscape. That's a lot of cleaning. Tell me about it, Barnaby groaned. And we are short-staffed tonight. Binky called in sick with a hairball. Hey, kid. You got a wrench in that belt? Toby looked down at his plastic toy wrench. Yes, good enough, Barnaby grinned. Suit up. Chapter 4, The Great Polish. Toby was given a small, white space helmet, which fit perfectly, and a star polisher, a machine that looked like a vacuum cleaner but worked in reverse. Instead of sucking up dirt, it spun a soft, fluffy buffer pad. We start at the northern crater, Barnaby commanded the squad. Let's make it shine. Toby followed the squad of Moon Bunnies out of the shop. They hopped across the gray dust, their long ears bouncing in the low gravity. Boing, boing, boing. They reached a ridge that was completely black with soot. Ready? Barnaby shouted. Scrub. Vrr. The sound of 50 polishing machines started up at once. It was a satisfying humming sound. Toby turned on his polisher. He pressed it against a dark rock. Whir. As the buffer spun, the black soot vanished. Underneath, the rock began to glow. It wasn't just white, it was a pearlescent, creamy silver. It illuminated Toby's face. Wow! Toby whispered. He moved to the next rock. Whir. Glow. It was satisfying. It was like erasing a drawing on a chalkboard to reveal the white surface underneath. Toby worked alongside the bunnies. One bunny sprayed comet cleaner from a bottle. Psst, psst. Another bunny wiped it down with a cloth made of clouds. Squeak, squeak. And Toby followed with the buffer. Whoa. Shine. Slowly, the line of light moved. From Earth, people looking up would see the moon growing. They polished the sea of tranquility. They scrubbed the ocean of storms. Toby found a particularly stubborn spot. It was a dark smudge shaped like a dragon. That's a meteorite stain, a bunny named Pip said, hopping over. Here, use the elbow grease. Pip handed Toby a jar labeled elbow grease, 100% pure. Toby dipped his rag in. It was slippery and sparkled like glitter. He rubbed the stain. Rub-a-dub-dub. The stain lifted, floating away as tiny sparkling stars. The rock underneath shone brighter than a diamond. Good job, rookie, Barnaby called out. We've got a waxing gibbous. Keep going. Chapter 5, The Full Moon Finish. They worked for what felt like hours. But on the moon, time moved slowly. Finally, they reached the very last edge of the moon. The southern rim. One last push. Barnaby cheered. Toby's arms were tired, but he was happy. He took his buffer to the final dark rock. Whirr! Click. The machine stopped. The last speck of dust was gone. Toby stood back. He shielded his eyes. The ground beneath him was blindingly white. The entire surface of the moon was now clean, polished, and reflecting the sun's light with absolute perfection. A full moon! The bunnies cheered, throwing their wrenches in the air, which floated slowly because of gravity. Job done! Barnaby walked over to Toby and shook his hand. Nice work, kid. You've got the touch. The Earth is going to have a bright night tonight thanks to you. But won't it get dirty again? Toby asked, looking at the dark sky. Of course, Barnaby shrugged. Tomorrow, the space dust settles. We start getting a shadow again. Then we rest for a few weeks, let it get dirty, and start scrubbing again next month. It's a cycle. But for tonight, it's perfect. Barnaby handed Toby a souvenir. It was a small, gray rock, a piece of moon dust. Barnaby winked. Before we cleaned it, put it under your pillow. Time to go home, Toby, Barnaby said. The sun is chasing us. Toby walked back to the moonbeam slide. He looked back at the repair shop. The lights were turning off. The bunnies were taking off their goggles and getting their carrot juice. Toby sat on the moonbeam. Whee! He slid down, faster this time, down past the satellites, down past the clouds, down through his open window. He landed on his bed with a soft thump. He quickly ran to the window and looked through his telescope. There it was. The moon. It wasn't a bitten cookie anymore. It was a perfect, round, glowing pearl. It was so bright it cast shadows of the trees on his lawn. Toby smiled. He looked at his hands. They were a little bit gray with space dust. He opened his palm. There was the small rock Barnaby gave him. He placed it under his pillow. It's not broken, Toby whispered to the night. It's just freshly polished. He climbed under his covers, feeling the tired satisfaction of a job well done. The moonlight streamed onto his face, bright and clean. He closed his eyes, listening to the imaginary whir of the buffers in the sky. Good night, Toby. Good night, Barnaby. Good night, shiny, happy moon.